Hey everybody, and welcome back to my channel for another monthly favourites video. We're now looking at June 2019, which was a very busy and eventful month all in all. In terms of disability related stuff, I was kind of flavour of the month in June, it seemed, because I got to speak at a conference and I was featured in a podcast and I was filmed for a documentary as well. And then in terms of other stuff, my girlfriend and I went away for a mini break outside of London to a city I'd never been to before. And in London, I went to some more exhibitions and went on a few walks. And there's also some entertainment in terms of film, TV, and music that I can tell you about as well that I enjoyed. So there's quite a lot to cover and get through, so I will crack straight on with it, and I hope you enjoy it. In terms of disability stuff, I will quickly get out of the way something that isn't so good that happened, in as much that I got the PIP application come through. For those of you who don't know, disability living allowance is the benefit that disabled people were getting to support them in their lives. And now the government are switching people over to personal independence payments, PIP. Disabled people in the UK will tell you what a pain that is to go through the process because it's not fairly done for various reasons. I'm not going to rant about it now. There's going to be a whole video about this after I finish the process, but it's not really a fair process. It's a very stressful process for disabled people to go through. I've got support for it. I've got people to help me fill out the form, and I've got lots of advice online for the form and for the assessment as well that I'll probably have to go to with a health professional. And yeah, I'm just going to give it my best shot and see how it goes. I am entitled to receive some sort of funding, so I'm going to obviously go for it. But I'm not going to rant about that in this video. As I say, that's going to be a completely separate topic. So we'll see how it goes. Wish me luck. But there are some more exciting things to tell you about on the disability front, as I mentioned earlier. So here's what I've been getting up to on that front. So the big event that started the month off for me was the Aniridia Network Conference, which I've been to for the second year running now. And this took place in Birmingham and basically brings together people with Aniridia and parents of children with the condition and professionals who work with people who have Aniridia. So it's a great occasion for people to network and find out more information. So we had lots of speakers there. We had people talking about child development and education and assistive technology and living with Aniridia. And one of them was me this time. I got to speak for about a quarter of an hour about my life with Aniridia to date, how I've developed over the years in terms of confidence and the things I've done. I'm not a professional public speaker. I talk a bit too quickly. I probably don't project myself as well as I should. But, I still did very well. I got very good feedback for it. I think the weird thing about me has been watching it back because I work on social media for the Aniridia network as well, as and when I get a bit of spare time. So I'm editing the videos for their YouTube channel, which is going to go up bit by bit over the coming weeks. And so I've got a video of myself to watch back and edit, which is quite odd because I've never seen myself doing a speech before. So it's a little bit kind of weird, a little bit embarrassing, but I'm glad it went down well. I'm glad people took a lot away from it. And I'm glad for everyone's support on that. It's been brilliant. For me, it was completely the opposite. Mainstream school kind of shattered my confidence personally. I know it works for a lot of people, and that's exactly how it should be. There are people here who can talk about it very positively, but I was bullied there by the other kids regularly, and the teachers just didn't know how to support me. So I couldn't read the blackboard and the written materials, and just couldn't understand the lessons and things. So I just became kind of very withdrawn and upset because I was made to feel worthless, basically. Nobody wanted to be friends with me because I was different, and I was incapable of doing anything as far as I knew at that point. And we had various workshops as well, giving people a chance to interact and socialise, because that was something that people had suggested that we do this year. And we also had a social in the evening as well at a nearby hotel. We had a nice dinner. So it was a lovely day altogether. And also for Aniridia Day on the 21st of June, we had a meet-up as well in London. And there was another one in Dublin as well that some people in Ireland went to. So yeah, that was a great occasion. And there were people online as well who took part in a campaign to show what people can do with Aniridia, to show what we're capable of in terms of jobs and hobbies and education and things. So yeah, it was a great way of raising awareness that day. Next year is going to be particularly big for us in the UK though, because we're hosting the European Aniridia Conference, which is a big deal, as you can imagine, bringing people together at an international level. So preparations are underway for that. I'm not doing a lot personally. I'm not one of the organisers, but there are little bits that I'm kind of doing to help out here and there. And it's not an easy or cheap thing to run. So, if you can volunteer your services or do a bit of fundraising or make a donation to the Aniridia network to help out with running the conference, setting it up, whatever, then do get in touch with the Aniridia network because they'll greatly appreciate any offers of support that you can give. And there'll be links in the description below in case you do fancy helping out, because as I say, it's going to be a really brilliant occasion. I know other members of our Aniridia network have been to the European conference, so it is a really big deal, that event. So yeah, that'll be interesting when that happens in August next year. I was also very kindly asked to feature on a podcast during July. In fact, I recorded it in June, but it went out in July. And this was by Leonard, Cheshire, a disability charity here in the UK. And they were doing a podcast for London Tech Week all about assistive technology with various different contributors. So I was invited to talk about the assistive technology that I use, in terms of my iPhone, of course, in particular, with the various apps and settings I use on that, and other bits and pieces I use as well, just to kind of, showcase the kind of things that are out there and how much it benefits me and things like that. So that is available online on SoundCloud. So I'll put the link in the description below, and it's also in my blog post. So yeah, do go and check that out. And then I was also filmed for a documentary as well by a student from the University of Westminster. She did an interview with me in the studio on one day, and then on the next day she followed me around an exhibition at the Science Museum, which I'll mention a bit later. And yeah, she just filmed how I got on in terms of reading things, using my monocular and using my phone with Seeing AI to read some things and stuff like that. Just as she got some film of me out and about to go in the documentary. And there are other contributors in that documentary as well. It's not just me. I'm the example case, really, to show what it's like for visually impaired people to get out and about. And I think there are people from more fields and RNIB involved, I think, something like that. So it'll be interesting to see it when it comes out, and I will, of course, link you to it when it's published. And, of course, I've got the documentary that I made with Met Film School that I told you about last month to share with you as well. I'm just giving Guide Dogs a chance to publish that on their own channel first if they wish to, because it was made for them. But regardless of that, one way or the other, it will be ending up on this channel as well. So yeah, you will be seeing it soon enough, and I'm looking forward to sharing both of those documentaries with you. It's quite exciting to be in two little pieces of film made about me. I feel like quite the star at the moment, so yeah, I'm looking forward to sharing those with you. The absolute highlight of the month for me, though, wasn't related to anything like that. I actually went on a little break with my girlfriend Claire for the first time. We'd never been away together before, so to mark about a year since we first met, we went away together for a weekend to Liverpool. Claire has been there before, she knows the area. I hadn't, so I was really looking forward to visiting. And we had an absolutely wonderful time over 2 days. We packed a lot in. We stayed at the Premier Inn at Royal Albert Dock, which is a beautiful area in itself. It's basically a holiday destination all of its own because there's so much to do. There's things to see, there's lots of places to eat, and there's nice places to walk. So we spent a lot of time just in that area, really. One of the first things we went to was the Beatles Story, which is the museum literally right next door to the Premier Inn. And it's a really interesting museum all about the Beatles, as the name suggests. You get an audio guide that you take around with you, which isn't terribly easy to see if you're visually impaired, but the audio on it is really good because it's got interviews and facts and all this kind of thing. There's lots of exhibits to look at, as you can imagine. So it's a really comprehensive and atmospheric exhibition as well, because you get recreations of places like the Cavern Club as well, where they performed. So it's really nicely put together, that museum, and I'm really glad I went. If you're a Beatles fan, then you have to go there, basically. It is, the definitive guide to the Beatles, and it is brilliant. And I got some souvenirs as well, of course, as you'd expect. I got a bag and a couple of t-shirts and a baseball cap and a couple of fridge magnets. So yeah, I'm really pleased I went there and came away with some nice souvenirs to remember it by too. The rest of the weekend was basically spent exploring the city in various different ways. Claire and I spent a great deal of time walking up and down by the River Mersey, because there's a huge path you can walk up and down by there. We only covered a small section of it ultimately, but it was still quite a way that we walked. So the views are beautiful, and there's so many different things to spot along the way. You've got the Three Graces, which are three big buildings, three iconic buildings in Liverpool, including the Royal Liver building. So of course we had to see them. The Museum of Liverpool is right near those too, and that's got a very unique design. We didn't go in it, but it would be nice to certainly explore the Museum of Liverpool on a later visit. There's also things like the Wheel of Liverpool, which is basically a small version of the London Eye, really. There's the Pump House pub, there's various docks we saw, there's the M&S Bank Arena for entertainment and the ACC Liverpool for conferences, and there's memorials as well to the engine room heroes of the Titanic and to the war heroes of the Merchant Navy. There are statues of people like Billy Fury and Captain Frederick John Walker. And there are decorative sculptures called super lamb bananas as well, which are quite interesting. These are basically lambs with banana-shaped tails and various designs on their bodies. So that's quite unusual and quite interesting to look at. It's just like London, really, in as much as there's something to look at everywhere you walk. So it was really interesting to have a good look around. I'm sure there were things we missed as well that we'd spot on a second walk, to be honest, because there's just so much to look at in places like that. And if we go further down certain areas of the river in the future, I'm sure we'll see even more interesting things. So yeah, it's great to be able to just explore in our free time like that. It's brilliant. But we also took a tour on the river itself as well, because we got on their very colourful Dazzle ferry to have a little tour on the Mersey, or a ferry across the Mersey, if you want me to say the phrase from the song. And yeah, it's really interesting. You get a nice commentary as you're going along, and the views are beautiful, looking back over the city. And midway through the ferry, we were able to hop off and explore the U-boat story as well, which is a museum all about life on board the German submarine U-534, which was salvaged and preserved after it sank from World War II. So that's quite interesting. It's not easy to read everything when you're visually impaired, but we got the general idea, and it was quite nice to be able to look at things and get an insight into what life was like on board one of those vessels. And then finally, we got a tour of the city courtesy of a Liverpool Sights bus tour. Basically, half of the top deck has no roof, so you can sit outdoors if you wish, or you can sit undercover if you prefer. And the commentary is delivered by a very entertaining guy. He's got a great sense of humour, and he's very knowledgeable as well. He's given us lots of facts as we went around. And it basically took us around all sorts of places in the city. The Three Graces and the World Museum, Wellington's Column we saw, there's St George's Hall, there's the Liverpool Metropolitan Cathedral, which has got an unusual shape to it. And there's St Luke's bombed out church, which has a memorial to the truce that took place during the war, where the two opposing sides played a game of football. And there's also the beautiful Chinatown Arch as well. And Freddie Mercury got a mention as well. I was glad to hear, because he was in a band called Ibex when he spent some time in the city. So it was a very comprehensive tour. It gave a good overview of the city. And yeah, just all in all, it was a fantastic weekend away. It's great to explore a new city with such wonderful, beautiful company. And we are looking forward to going on more adventures to other places. We've already got something in mind for August that we're going to do, and then I'm sure there'll be other places we go to as well. We've got lots of ideas. So yeah, it's just great to be able to go away and spend some time together exploring somewhere new like that. And then getting back to London, and there are a couple of exhibitions to tell you about. My favourite was the Van Gogh and Britain exhibition at the Tate Britain Gallery, which I'd never been to before, but I was very interested to go because they had an audio-described tour they were putting on a Sunday evening. So I went along to that, as did about 120 other people. Not even exaggerating, it really was a huge crowd, more than the museum expected, I think. But to be fair, they coped very, very well. We all got free drinks before and after the tour, including wine. And everyone was able to hear the audio description during the tour, because people who needed hearing assistance had headphones they could use. So they made sure everyone was included as much as possible. It was a little bit hard to get close to the painting sometimes, so a smaller group would probably be better really, but it still worked very well the tour, and I was able to get up to some of the paintings and use my binocular to look at them as well. So it worked really nicely, and we got to see loads of things, including the sunflowers painting, of course, as well as various others. The description by Jill Cutball was really good. She was very good at pointing out details that I would not have spotted otherwise. And there are also colour photocopies and tactile representations of the paintings being passed around as well for people who wanted even more detail. We also got to hear about Van Gogh's life and the reason that he created these different artworks to help put things into perspective. So it was really interesting, and it was great to hear more about Van Gogh, because I didn't really know a lot about him. So I really enjoyed that. It was a really engaging experience. And then the other exhibition I went to was at the Science Museum, and this is where I was filmed for that documentary being made by the student I mentioned earlier. And this time I went to the exhibition called Driverless, Who is in Control? And it's all about driverless technology, like cars and boats and drones and things like that. So it's very interesting. There's lots of applications that the technology can be put to use for, like the transportation of medical supplies, and there's military uses, and there's things like driverless cars, obviously, as well, that are a hot topic these days. And there are interesting videos to watch with audio narration, as well as exhibits to look at. So it's quite a nice exhibition. It's quite small. There's not a huge amount there, but it's still interesting to look around. It's not hugely accessible in as much as the lighting isn't great and you don't get large print guides. So I had to use my binocular and things like the Seeing AI app to be able to read and look at things, but that was fine. I did manage to see quite a bit, and I found it very interesting. So it is worth a visit if that kind of technology interests you, and it will certainly be interesting to see how the technology develops in the future. So it's quite thought-provoking to look at something like that. It was good. I've also been out for some nice walks, as I've tried to take advantage of the heatwave conditions that we had over a couple of weekends during the month, now that summer is finally blessing us with some decent weather. And the most interesting thing I did was the Sculpture in the City Trail, which is a collection of 19 sculptures and one video artwork that are spread across the square mile in the City of London. And there's another sculpture coming in the autumn as well. And basically there's a map on the website and descriptions of all the artworks. So I used the map on there and Google Maps as well in conjunction with it to kind of find my way from one to the other. It's a little bit hard sometimes, but I did manage to find them all, and there's a big variety of different artworks there basically. They're all very different to each other. The first one on the list is a reclining nude figure made out of marble, and the marble's all kind of distorted in its construction. So even though you can make out what the figure is slightly, it's not kind of a clean, crisp image either. So it's got very kind of unusual feel to it. And then not far from that is a house kind of resting on top of a footbridge above a main road, as if it's just fallen out of the sky and landed there. And then there's lots of other things as well. There's some quite complex sculptures as you go around, and there's some that are much more minimalist. There's some coloured panes of glass, and there's some lights that spell out various words that get lit up at night, and various other things. It's a whole mixture, and it's well worth going around to explore them all. And you get to see many other things as well, because you're going for a tour around the City of London, so you get to see various other sites as well, including sculptures that I never knew existed. And there's iconic places like Leadenhall Market, which is a beautiful historic building. You've got the Gherkin, of course, which is very iconic, and you've got churches as well that you see along the way. So yeah, it's not just the works of art that you're looking at. You're getting a little bit of a tour of the City of London as well, discovering some of its hidden secrets. So it's worth going on. It's very, very interesting, and if you like art, it's well worth going for a walk to seek them out. And it's a nice way of encouraging people to explore the city in a new way that they might never have done before. So yeah, I can recommend that, and there's lots of photos on my Instagram as well if you want to go and check that out. I also had a walk along the Thames, because that's always nice to do when the weather's good. And this time I picked a section of the North Bank that I hadn't walked along before, from Albert Bridge to Westminster Bridge, because I always try and pick a new section to kind of explore. And I did actually hop over Albert Bridge to look at Battersea Park briefly, but then I did come back over to walk the North Bank. And yeah, Albert Bridge, incidentally, is quite a sight in itself. All the bridges are, because they've got their own unique history and design and construction. So every bridge along the river is interesting. And indeed, they're going to get even more interesting over the summer because of the Illuminated River project. So all 15 bridges that span the river in central London are going to have light installations. The first 4 will be switched on over the summer, and then there'll be more following in the weeks and months after that. And Channel 4 will be making a documentary series about it. So it's going to be interesting to see what all these installations look like. And I mention that not just because it sounds interesting, but also because Vocalise, the people who do audio description at museums and theatres, things like that, are doing recorded audio descriptions for each of these installations. So you'll be able to download it to your device and listen to it when you're there, or listen to it at home as well if you prefer. So that's really, really cool, and I'll have to try that out at some point. I'm glad they've been able to do something for visually impaired people like that to help them enjoy it too. But I digress. Getting back to my walk, I took lots of nice photos along the way as I walked along by the river, and there were various sites, including the SIS building for the Secret Intelligence Services, or the MI6 building as it was formerly known as, and perhaps better known as. There's Tate Britain, and there's the Buxton Memorial Fountain, and there's a statue of Emmeline Pankhurst when you get to the Westminster end, and various other things. So it's really interesting to see what you can find as you walk along. And I've posted photos on Instagram that you can look at for that. And then the other walk I went on to, there isn't really a lot I can say about it, but it's worth mentioning that I went to have a little wander around Finsbury Park, because I'd never been there before. It's got a nice lake in there, and it's nice and relaxing to walk around in the sunshine. And then after that, I went and met my girlfriend Claire and a couple of our other friends, and we went for a meal at Pizza Pilgrims, which is in an area called Exmouth Market, which confuses the hell out of me because I used to live in Devon and there's a place called Exmouth there, so it seems weird that there's a place called Exmouth in London. But yeah, it's a really nice pizza place, Pizza Pilgrims. I had the Induja pizza, which has spicy sausage as its main ingredient, basically. So I just thought I'd give that a mention as my other walk, because I've put photos from Finsbury Park on Instagram as well. So yeah, there's lots of photos I've been posting for the month, and I hope you enjoy looking through them all, because I think London looks really beautiful in the sunshine, and it's nice to be able to share it with you. So now moving on to entertainment to finish off with, and the first thing I mentioned is the cinema, because my girlfriend and I went to see Toy Story 4, as we're both Toy Story fans. We've enjoyed the franchise so far. We thought perhaps Toy Story 3 was the end of it when it originally came out, because it had a nice ending to it, had a lovely finale to it, which felt like it wrapped up the trilogy very nicely. So we didn't know if it would be necessary for them to make a fourth, and it wasn't a necessary film, to be fair. It didn't need to be made, but it was lovely that they did, and it is a very good film. It's nice to see, obviously, all the old gang back together, and there are new characters in this as well. Indeed, I think the new characters kind of take most of the focus, really. A lot of the old characters that we know and love, although they're present throughout the movie, they don't really get to do much until near the end, really, which is a bit of a shame, really. It would be nice to have seen them used a bit more. Buzz Lightyear gets a lot of action, of course, and Woody is the central star of the show as usual. as is Bo Peep, who makes a return in this film. It's kind of Woody and Bo Peep who are at the centre of this story. There's a new character that is created by Bonnie as well, who took the toys in at the end of Toy Story 3, as you know. That's kind of a new toy she creates at school, which I thought perhaps might be a bit irritating at first, but it actually turned out to be quite an inspired and slightly weirdly cute choice. It's hard to explain if you haven't seen it, but it was interesting, that new character, but it kind of fitted in quite well in the end. It was a nice story for him. And yeah, the other new characters were good fun. You know, the ending of the film is a little bit sad relative to Toy Story 3. It's joint happy for some characters and sad for others, really. So it's not a kind of globally happy ending. But yeah, the characters who had a happy ending, I was very happy for. And the characters who were perhaps feeling a bit sad at the end because of certain things that happened, yeah, I felt a bit sorry for them as well. So it's kind of a mixture of emotions, which Toy Story is good at, let's be fair. You know, Toy Story is good at tugging at the heartstrings as well as having a lot of fun and humour as well. And we did have a good laugh throughout the film. You know, it's a very funny film as per usual. Visually, it's stunning as well. You know, even with my dodgy eyesight, I can tell that the animation has taken another leap forward in terms of the detail that they can do. And Randy Newman's score is ever present as always, you know, always heightening the emotion and adding atmosphere and stuff like that. So that's really good too. There's a couple of new songs that he's put into the film, and I've downloaded the soundtrack for that as well. So yeah, it's a lovely film. It's not quite as good as the others perhaps. As I say, it didn't need to be made, and it's not the best film of the set, but it is still a very, very good film. So if you like Toy Story, yeah, it's good fun. It's worth watching, I think. Then moving on to TV, and on Netflix we had season 5 of Black Mirror, which came out during the month. And there's only 3 episodes this time around because their interactive Bandersnatch episode at Christmas obviously took up a lot of their resources and production time, which is fair enough. But these 3 episodes are still pretty good. You know, they're still typical Black Mirror style. They're always independent from each other, these stories, so it's a different story for each episode. If you don't know Black Mirror, it's basically set in an alternative, kind of slightly darker version of our universe. So it feels kind of very real and close to reality, and indeed it does seem to kind of predict or have parallels with events that have happened like since some of the older episodes were broadcast. So it is a bit thought-provoking and kind of disconcerting in that way, because it feels like these things could happen in theory. So it does make you think, but it is very entertaining as well, you know, as well as being a bit dark. So it's a very good series, and this time we had 3 very different stories, as I say. One was about 2 guys who play this virtual reality fighting game together online. One plays a male character in the game and one plays a female character, but it's so realistic to them being in this virtual world, and they find each other's characters so attractive that things get a bit more physical than just fighting, let's put it like that. And that obviously has a psychological impact in their real life then, with one being quite keen to continue that and the other guy feeling a bit ashamed and unsure about it. So it's very interesting to kind of watch how they cope with that. Then the other story is about social media and the effect that that can have. And this kind of feels very much more current and possibly realistic, really, because it basically focuses on this taxi driver who meets this lady who is desperately trying to access her daughter's social media account to find out why she committed suicide, but the social media company won't give her the password, so she's just trying to guess it all the time. The taxi driver is very angry about this on her behalf and kidnaps one of the social media company's employees and takes him hostage and demands that they give this woman the password, basically. And yeah, it's just a very kind of tense episode from that point on. As you know, there's this standoff between him and the police and the social media company. It's quite a slow-moving episode as a result. It may be perhaps a bit too long and dragged out because of that, but then it's all about the tension. So yeah, it is a good episode, and it also features as its primary star Andrew Scott, who a lot of people will know as being Moriarty in the modern version of Sherlock, opposite Benedict Cumberbatch. So yeah, it's great to see him in it, and he's very good in the role here. So yeah, it's a very good episode, and Andrew Scott is very good in it. And then the third story focuses on a pop star called Ashley O, who is played by Miley Cyrus. And it's a very complicated story to try and explain, but very briefly, Ashley O's primary item of merchandise is an artificially intelligent robot doll that people can interact with, and it's a huge hit amongst all the kids. It's like the Amazon Echoes, you know, or the Google Home devices that you talk to, but much more conversational and emotionally aware and intelligent. So it's like talking to a real person, basically. It's got this pop star's personality embedded in it. Rachel becomes addicted to this, and, you know, it becomes like a very close friend of hers because she's got nobody else, she feels. And, you know, her sister Jack kind of ends up hiding it away because it causes issues at school as a result. But in parallel with that, the real pop star, Ashley, confronts her manager about the way she's being manipulated and controlled. And basically, as a result of this, she ends up in a coma. I won't say why, but she ends up in hospital in a coma. And because of this, Rachel's sister Jack gets the Ashley 2 doll out again to keep Rachel company because she's very upset by this, so she kind of relents and gives it back. But then this Ashley robot sees a report on the TV about the real Ashley in a coma in hospital. It causes the robot to kind of malfunction and break its programming and basically persuades Rachel and Jack to go on a rescue mission, basically, to save her. It does seem a bit silly and far-fetched, but there is a kind of parallel with reality because of everything that we talk to, and the more that AI advances, who knows how conversational and realistic they'll get. Maybe it's not going to be for everyone, that episode, but, I enjoyed it. It was a good bit of fun. So, yeah, those are the 3 episodes of Black Mirror. It's another nice series. Hopefully, if they do a Series 6, there'll be more episodes in it, but we'll just have to wait and see it. I hope it will come back for more. But if that seems surreal, then it's got nothing compared to Good Omens, which I saw on Amazon Prime. This has been jointly made with BBC Studios and is also going to be on BBC Two later in the year as a result. It's based on a book by Terry Pratchett and Neil Gaiman that was written about 30 years ago. And it's brilliant. It's very weird, very surreal, but it's brilliant. It stars David Tennant and Michael Sheen as a demon and an angel who have lived on Earth since its creation. And Armageddon is approaching. Now, they don't want Armageddon to happen, because they're happy with their life on Earth. They like the way that their lives are going. But they have their orders from on high, and they've been asked to look after the Antichrist, who they lose. They lose this young boy who's born into a normal family, has no clue what's coming up, he's just a normal boy as far as he knows. But they lose this boy because he ends up going off with the wrong family, and they have to try and find him over the course of these 6 episodes, and to try and avert this Armageddon, this war between heaven and hell that's going to destroy everything. But it's actually very funny. It doesn't take itself too seriously, this story. David Tennant and Michael Sheen have great chemistry, but there's lots of other characters as well. There's other story arcs kind of threaded throughout this series, with loads of other kind of famous people either making guest appearances and cameos or having more major roles. People like Jack Whitehall, the comedian. He's got a very major role in this series, which was a surprise to me, but he's very good as well. I didn't really recognise him at first. I thought, is that him? And, oh, yes, it is. So, yeah, it's surprising who you see in there. It's fun to see who you recognise. It's very slickly filmed and produced, and the title sequence is a work of art in itself. It's got great theme music to it. David Arnold, who's done the music for Sherlock and Independence Day, things like that, has composed the music for this, and it's brilliant. Yeah, it's just good fun, basically. It's very surreal, very weird. If you've read any of Terry Pratchett's books, then you'll know what you're in for, basically. I've never read any of them, in fact, and I probably should one day. But yeah, I enjoyed it. It was something different, something original, something fresh, which is always good. And then in terms of music, to finish off with, there are a few new purchases I've had this month that are worth mentioning. One is the latest box set by Def Leppard, the CD Collection Volume 2. They're releasing 4 box sets, all in all, enclosing all of their studio albums, which I've never had before, so this is a perfect way to collect them. And there's loads of bonus material as well. So here you've got 4 studio albums plus 3 discs of rarities. So it's a real kind of bumper package again. And it's just great to listen to it all. They are a brilliant band. I'm glad that I'm able to collect all of their stuff so easily. And then I also got the Blu-ray of the Rolling Stones concert Bridges to Bremen. This is part of their Bridges to Babylon tour that they did. And it's a brilliant show again. It's like a 2.5 hour show, and you also get 4 songs from a Chicago show they did as well. And they're on top form as per usual. Mick Jagger's always got lots of energy, and they perform all the big hits that you love, along with a few other kind of relatively rare songs that you don't hear so often. And indeed, on this particular tour, it was the first time they'd allowed fans to vote online for a song they wanted to hear in each show. And then this was also the first tour where they had a dedicated permanent B stage as well in the centre of the arena. So this large walkway basically came down in a very dramatic fashion, kind of linking the big stage to this smaller intimate stage and amongst the crowd. So they were able to come out and do a more intimate set for a few songs kind of midway through the gig. So that's lovely. It kind of helped to keep things fresh and interesting. And yeah, it's just a brilliant show. And you get, like, as I say, 3 hours of music on there pretty much. I'm very happy with that. And then finally, there was one song I bought as well. Not an album or a Blu-ray, but just one solitary song. But it was worth it because it was by Freddie Mercury. This isn't a new song as such, because Time has been one of his great solo hits in the past. It's already been released before. But this is a new, previously unreleased alternative version that he recorded in '86, which is just vocals and piano, and it's called Time Waits for No One. And it's brilliant, basically. He's got an amazing voice, as we know, and it just sounds really good in this stripped back form. So, I'm really pleased I got that to add to my collection, because it's just a beautiful rendition of the track. It's a beautiful song. And that's it. That brings us to the end of this bumper package. Well done for making it this far. And I've got a few nice things I'll be able to mention for July already as well. I've already done a few nice things. And I've got a few nice things lined up in the calendar as well. In particular, there's a theatre show that I'm really looking forward to going to that my girlfriend booked as an early birthday present for me. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that as well as other bits and pieces. And we've got some nice plans for August as well. So yeah, it's going to be a lovely summer, I think. Thank you very much for watching this video as per usual. I hope you enjoyed it. Don't forget to like, comment and subscribe as always. And I will see you for another video very, very soon. Bye.